Based on a true story, a single mother is abducted on the day of her son's custody hearing, leading to her harrowing imprisonment inside a wicked man's residence. In Cleveland, Ohio, Michelle Knight, a 21-year-old single mother, enjoys playful moments with her son Joey. However, she cuts their playtime short to find a job so they can get their own place and move out of her mom's house. Before heading out, Michelle entrusts her son to her mom, Barbara. She makes a heartfelt promise to Joey that once she secures employment, she'll reward him with a special gift. Unfortunately, when Michelle applies at a laundromat, her application is rejected because she lacks a high school diploma due to her early pregnancy. Upon returning home, Michelle is shocked to discover her son playing with a bottle of liquor while under the supervision of her mother's unpleasant boyfriend. As the boyfriend makes inappropriate advances toward his mother, Joey bravely intervenes, leading the man to violently push him aside. In light of the incident, Michelle decides to seek help from a social worker. However, to her dismay, the social worker contemplates removing Joey from her custody, citing her inability to provide a safe environment for him. Distressed, the woman desperately pleads to prevent her son from being taken away. As a result, she's granted a hearing to present her case and fight for custody. Days later, Michelle visits her friend Emily Castro and shares the news that she is temporarily staying with her cousin while awaiting the hearing. The woman excitedly reveals that she submitted several job applications and has received calls from 3 potential employers. On August 22, 2002, the day of her hearing, Michelle receives a phone call from her mom, who informs her that she won't be able to drive her to the courthouse. With no choice, the single mother decides to walk to the courthouse to ensure she doesn't arrive late. As the woman struggles to find the correct address, she decides to ask for directions in a nearby convenience store. Coincidentally, she comes across Emily's father, Ariel Castro, who happens to be there. Understanding Michelle's urgency, the man offers her a ride to the courthouse, promising to get her there in 10 minutes. Reluctantly, Michelle accepts Ariel's offer and hops into his pickup truck. However, before they depart, he insists on making a detour to pick up a puppy he thinks Michelle should give to her son. He assures her that it'll only take a few minutes and that she won't be late for the hearing. At the man's residence on Seymour Avenue in the Tremont neighborhood, Michelle accompanies him upstairs as directed to see the puppies. In the bedroom, Ariel abruptly locks the door and forcefully restrains the single mother, leaving her trapped and unable to escape his grip. Once the man subdues her, he proceeds to bind her with restraints. In a disturbing act of cruelty, he takes out her wallet and tears apart her lone photograph of Joey. To further silence her, he tapes her mouth shut. Then he brandishes a loaded gun and threatens to shoot her if she tries to escape. Before Ariel leaves, he connects Michelle's ropes to a pulley system, hoisting her body up and suspending her in the air. Despite her desperate attempts to call out to people outside the window, her muffled pleas go unheard. The helpless remains suspended for 3 days, enduring hunger and soiling herself. Meanwhile, Barbara reports her daughter's disappearance to the authorities. While doing so, she acknowledges that Michelle has run away in the past, but she stresses that this time feels different because she would never miss an important appointment unless something was wrong. However, one of the police officers suggests that her daughter may have chosen to run away due to the overwhelming nature of the custody case. Upon the captor's return, he gives his prisoner a hamburger before forcefully taking her to the basement. As the man restrains Michelle, he cruelly informs her that people believe she's abandoned her son. That night, Ariel receives a visit from his mother Lillian Rodriguez, so Michelle makes desperate noises to attract attention. Unfortunately, despite her efforts, no one responds or intervenes. Shortly after, her captor returns to the basement and tightens the ropes, further restricting her movement. In a display of control, he proceeds to feed her spaghetti prepared by his own mother. After spending time with his friends, the despicable man continues to subject the woman to his heinous actions in the basement. In a disturbing revelation, he confides that his motivation for such heinous acts stems from his own experience of being taken advantage of by someone who was meant to protect him. Hearing this, the prisoner empathizes with her captor, expressing that she understands the pain he's endured. Then she implores him not to perpetuate the cycle of hurt by inflicting harm on others. She encourages him to consider the perspective of his own daughter, asking him to imagine the anguish he would feel if someone harmed Emily. Desperate to escape her dire situation, Michelle assures Ariel that she'll keep his identity a secret and fabricate a story about an accident to explain her absence. However, instead of releasing her, the vile man drags her to the second floor, where he chains her to the bed. Days later, Ariel unexpectedly hears Michelle singing, so he pulls out his guitar and starts playing a melody to her song. Then, the man requests that she write a song specifically for him. To his surprise, the prisoner reveals that she already wrote a piece titled Concrete. However, when he reads the lyrics, he realizes they convey a sense of disregard for him, which enrages the man. To punish her, he silences the woman by taping her mouth shut. Shortly after that, Ariel's family members visit him. As Emily is about to go upstairs, her father intercepts, informing her that he's already cleared out her old bedroom. When she hears the guests downstairs, the desperate woman attempts to create loud noises by banging on the headboard. However, the deceitful man assures Emily that it's the dog making the noise, then turns up the volume on the stereo to mask the sounds. After his family members leave, the man strikes Michelle. As the days pass, Michelle resorts to having pretend conversations with her son as a way to cope with her loneliness. However, this behavior annoys her captor, who slaps her. Days later, the man enters the room carrying a box. When the woman opens it, she's delighted to find a puppy inside and promises to look after it. One day, the woman realizes her captor accidentally left her chains unlocked before he departed for work as a bus driver. Seizing the opportunity, Michelle takes the puppy with her as she cautiously makes her way downstairs, aiming to escape through the front door. Unfortunately, as she reaches the front door, the despicable man emerges from the shadows and knocks her to the ground, thwarting her escape attempt. Enraged, he mercilessly ends the innocent puppy's life as her punishment. On April 21, 2003, Ariel commits yet another horrifying act by abducting a teen named Amanda Berry. Despite her courageous attempt to escape, the teen's efforts prove unsuccessful. While Michelle watches television, she learns that the authorities are actively searching for Amanda. Suddenly, Ariel brings the teen upstairs, allowing the woman to interact with her. However, when Michelle recognizes the new captive from art class, their captor intervenes, ordering them not to speak to each other. He then proceeds to chain Amanda in the adjacent bedroom, leaving Michelle to helplessly witness his deplorable acts. While the man is away, Michelle implores Amanda to join forces and create an escape plan, but the fearful teen hesitates to cooperate. Days later, as the woman watches television, the evil man enters the room, wanting to take advantage of her. However, upon deducing that she's pregnant because of her growing belly, he brutally strikes the woman to end her condition. After the incident, Ariel requires Michelle's assistance for his new job. Disguising her with a wig and sunglasses, he takes her outside to engage in woodwork. When the woman sees a neighbor, she silently mouths a plea for help, hoping the neighbor will understand the distress signal. That night, she excitedly tells Amanda about the neighbor, hoping that he called the police. However, her hope quickly turns to frustration when she realizes the sirens she heard were for an altercation in a neighboring house. Hopeless, Michelle considers ending her own life, but the thought of her son stops her. On her son's 5th birthday, the single mother marks the occasion by placing a number 5 on the wall. Meanwhile, a concerned neighbor approaches the police, reporting screams coming from Ariel's house. However, the authorities dismiss the suspicion and depart without any further investigation. On April 2, 2004, Michelle watches the distressing news of a missing teen named Gina de Jesus. To her horror, she soon realizes she is Ariel's latest victim. Shortly after, the man instructs Gina to cut Michelle's hair, reminding them of the alarms on every door and window to prevent escape. Before leaving, he sternly emphasizes the rule of silence, forbidding any communication between them. Despite his threats, the woman speaks with the teen, sharing that there are 3 captives before suggesting they work together to outsmart their abductor. Moments later, Ariel brings Amanda to join them. In a private moment, a tearful Gina confides in Michelle, revealing that she trusted Ariel because he was her friend's father. To comfort her, the woman urges her to stay strong and hold on for the sake of her loved ones. She reassures her that they'll find a way to escape because God's looking out for them. 1 year after Gina's abduction, Nancy and Felix, her parents, gather their supporters for a candlelight vigil, hoping to keep the search for their daughter alive. Unbeknownst to them, the perpetrator feigns support and comforts Nancy. Upon returning home, Ariel turns on the television, proudly showing them the news report showcasing his cold-blooded interaction with Gina's parents. Shortly after, the man takes advantage of the teen while Michelle bravely tries to protect her fellow captive. In response, the man cruelly taunts the single mother, highlighting his disdain by pointing out that nobody is holding a candlelight vigil for her. On the 3rd anniversary of Amanda's disappearance, Michelle and Gina receive the heartbreaking news that Amanda's mother has passed away due to heart failure. The weight of the loss causes the woman to mourn in the other room. Days later, the cruel man gathers his prisoners around the dining table. With a disturbing announcement, he excitedly reveals that Amanda is pregnant with his child, fulfilling his desire for a family. When she's about to give birth, Michelle assists in the delivery process. However, the newborn baby isn't breathing. As the man threatens her with a gun, the woman performs CPR on the fragile infant until the baby begins to cry, to everyone's relief. Following Jocelyn's birth, Ariel assumes the role of a seemingly doting father, capturing precious moments of his daughter's life on camera as she reaches various milestones throughout her early years. Despite the dire circumstances, the captives do their best to give Jocelyn an education through homeschooling. One day, while gathered in the living room to watch Ariel's favorite TV show, Jocelyn expresses her desire to go outside and play with the captives, whom she refers to as her aunts. However, her father firmly insists that the women can't go outside, leaving Jocelyn puzzled. Curious, the child asks her father why she can't talk about her aunts with anyone else, unknowingly touching upon the hidden truth that's been kept from her. Annoyed by his daughter's persistent questioning, the man threatens to hurt the child, but her mother and aunts protect her. Later, in a desperate attempt to provide food for his prisoners, Ariel enlists Michelle's help to dig in the backyard for a garden. During their conversation, the woman opens up to her captor, explaining that he doesn't have to continue his act. He can turn himself in to ensure a better life for Jocelyn. Nevertheless, the man expresses concern that his real family will discover what he's done if he turns himself in. Undeterred, Michelle argues that God's judgment is more important than anything. In response, Ariel callously questions where God was when he allowed her to get into his car, challenging her belief in divine intervention. In a surprising moment of vulnerability, the man acknowledges that he never intended to harm anyone and admits that he feels helpless about his actions. The single mother seizes the opportunity to appeal to the man's conscience and tells him that God is waiting for him to open up his heart and embrace change. On May 6, 2013, Michelle feels unwell, so Gina suggests going to the doctor in disguise if their captor allows it. However, instead of pursuing that option, the ill woman chooses to cope with her discomfort through dancing. Meanwhile, Ariel informs Jocelyn that he'll go to his mother's house to get some food for them, inadvertently leaving the front door unlocked. When the girl notices the unlocked door, she informs her mother, who swiftly reacts by waving her hand through the storm door and screaming for help. The vigilant neighbors rush to assist the woman and daughter by breaking through the door's bottom panel, allowing them to escape the house. As soon as the police arrive, they break into the house and rescue Gina and Michelle. When Michelle steps out into the sunlight, her heart swells with joy, looking forward to reuniting with her son Joey, who's now 16 years old. At the hospital, the woman is escorted to a room where Nurse Carla tends to her. She eagerly asks about her son, who's been in foster care since her disappearance. Shortly after, FBI agent Jake Solano arrives and gives Michelle a cheeseburger and ice cream, the two foods she's been craving. When the agent kindly offers her a napkin, the gesture triggers a defensive reaction from the woman due to the distressing memory of Ariel stuffing napkins in her mouth to silence her. Days later, when Carla informs Michelle that her mother wishes to see her, she discreetly instructs the nurse to turn her away. The woman reveals that during her captivity, Ariel repeatedly asserted that nobody cared for her and informed her that her mother had relocated to Florida. The act implies that her mother gave up looking for her, and she isn't ready to forgive her yet. Once the woman receives her new glasses, she catches a glimpse of Ariel's arraignment on television. Upon leaving the hospital, Agent Solano accompanies her to a luxurious residence, where she's provided with a spacious queen-sized bed just for her. The next day, Michelle meets with Gina, who reveals that she's spoken with her parents and, in her desire to lead a regular life, says she might need a break from frequently seeing her fellow survivor. As they bid farewell, they openly express their deep affection for one another. Later that day, Solano visits Michelle and delivers the news that Joey's adoptive parents have made the difficult decision for him not to have contact with her, because it could potentially cause him emotional distress. Nevertheless, Solano brings up the option of meeting with a family lawyer who can void the adoption because she was never technically consulted regarding the decision. After contemplation, Michelle makes the heartfelt choice not to disrupt Joey's current happy life, prioritizing his well-being above all else. During Ariel's trial, he's sentenced to life imprisonment, and Michelle delivers a powerful speech on survival. As the three women begin rebuilding their lives, Gina is at a vibrant family gathering surrounded by loved ones. Meanwhile, Amanda and Jocelyn enjoy a carefree day filled with laughter and fun at a park. In a powerful moment, Michelle arrives to witness the demolition of Castro's house, symbolizing her liberation. As she observes the significant event, Solano presents her with Joey's photograph, and the grateful woman hugs him. Shortly after, Michelle and the gathered spectators release yellow balloons, watching them soar into the sky in honor of those who also went missing. A month into his sentence, Ariel hangs himself in his jail cell, marking the end of his life. Meanwhile, Michelle transforms her remarkable journey into a powerful memoir, becoming an internationally acclaimed best-selling author. She is currently working towards a culinary career in Cleveland, where she finds solace and creative expression through her passions for singing and drawing.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.